Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So I am finally here to do my possibly most requested video ever. I am here to finally show you guys my bookshelves. I planned on filming this about like a month ago before I reorganized because I had everything set up by like genre. It was going to be very easy to give you a tour and how I had shelves set up. And then I was like, I'm going to reorganize my books on a very inconvenient day. So here we are with shelves that are not necessarily like well organized, but I like how they look. I was going for kind of a blend of like aesthetics and genre organization. So that's enough intro. I'm gonna get into showing you guys my shelves. I want to talk to you guys about how I did my shelves, etc. I hope you guys got a snack because this is probably gonna be a long video, and settle in because it's gonna be a ride. So basically here's an overall like pan of the entire wall that I have built. It literally goes down to the floor. I was really hoping to not have books on the floor, but alas, it has happened. And then there's my little TBR card that just hangs out next to everything, but this is kind of the overall setup, and this is the closest I'll probably ever be able to get to showing you like floor to ceiling shelves. So we shall move in closer so I can show you exactly what is on each of the shelves, but here is an overall view. Isn't it lovely? Don't you just want to like stare at it for a while? I do. Okay, we are starting up at the very tippy top shelf, and as I go lower in the shelves, I'll actually get in the frame, but I'm gonna be honest, I can't reach this top shelf. I'm a very short person, I'm only 5'2", so I kind of need a stepladder to reach these shelves. So these shelves up at the top, let me pan over for you guys. First of all, they house my Funko Pop villain collection, which is, you know, my favorite. But this shelf that runs along pretty much the ceiling is basically all classics and adult fiction that I have read and I would like to have in my collection kind of on a permanent basis, but they are not going to be books that I reach for all the time. So I do have some Polinick up there, my Gaiman is up there, along with some classics and like Lord of the Rings and Alama, because why not? So that is the very tippy top shelf that you probably will never get a chance to see better than this. Let's be real. Okay, moving down to the next tier. This is a shelf of kind of a mismatch. This corner shelf here is where I keep my like favorite all-time collections. So this is obviously my Harry Potter Shrine, my Sweep series, A Wrinkle in Time series. So these are just kind of like childhood favorites that will live on my shelves forever. And then as we just kind of pan over this shelf, this is a lot of miscellaneous fantasy into tall books. I don't really have a reason for the shelf except these were all just kind of books that didn't really have a home elsewhere, so they just kind of live here. I have like an actual reason for a lot of the books being here, but to be honest, this is more of just kind of an overflow shelf for like fantasy and stuff. And you know, Dumbledore just chilling over there. Why not? I will actually start getting in frame soon so I can talk to you guys about these books without just standing behind the camera like a creep, because I can reach these shelves. But this little side corner shelf is all my kind of recent horror type stories that I collected through the like fall season. And as we round the corner, we start getting into some of my favorite fantasies. And this little section in general is kind of what is behind me in my videos, so I started to actually feature books that I wanted to like be in the background because I got sick of looking at the same books in the background of all my videos when I was editing. So I did some favorite fantasies here, and then I got into a lot of my favorite authors, which is obviously Maggie Stiefvater, Lev Grossman, we get into Mindy McGinnis, and this little chunk of a shelf right here is for a whole bunch of authors that write all genres. So I wanted to keep their books together, but they cover all different genres, so I didn't want to split their books up across different shelves. So that's why I have April Genevieve Taholke, Minnie McGinnis, Sophie Jordan. Are you picking up what I'm putting down? It's just a lot of miscellaneous favorite authors that I happen to like all of their different types of books. Hey guys, I can reach these shelves now. Yay. So we are down to our 1, 2, 3. This is my fourth shelf from the top. And this is just kind of, again, an overflow shelf because I have a lot of overflow when it comes to books. But this little area right here is a lot of, I would say, fantasy TBR. I have TBR shelves, but they're just kind of scattered throughout, like, my life, as I'm sure everyone else's is. Is that normal? I'm gonna say it's normal. But Along with my little plants here, this is my fantasy TBR shelf. So these are unread books. And then as we round the corner here, we get into my favorite section. Welcome to my Sarah J. Maas shelf. Basically, the entire reason that I did my recent reorganization is that I wanted to get my Sarah J. Maas books back on the shelf. I had all of these pulled and I kept them over on my desk so I could look at them while I was working because I'm that obsessed with it. But I reached a point when I was filming a lot of videos, a lot of the books that were featured in the background of my shots weren't a lot of my favorite books. And when I watch other booktube videos, I like to see what books are behind them, because in my mind, if you're putting them behind you in your video, that means like you really like them, you want to advertise to the world that these are the type of books that you read and they're the books that are represented on your channel. So this is the area that I film in the most. So here we are. So as we pan over for the rest of this shelf, basically these are other books that I just like featuring in my videos if I want to film on like this half of the bookshelf versus that half of the bookshelf. These are books that I like people knowing that I have read, and they are beautiful and I want to talk about them in my life and on my channel. So we obviously have this that happened recently. If you guys watch my recent book haul, you know how I have like multiple copies of Strange the Dreamer and Muse of Nightmares. We're not going to discuss it, it's fine. But I also have The Poppy War because hello, I love The Poppy War. It's my favorite book of 2018 and I have an arc of it, which is like my second most prized possession on these bookshelves. Then I have Leigh Bardugo stuff and Holly Black stuff. It's lovely, okay? I like the aesthetic. Okay, moving back down. I am out of the frame again because otherwise I'll just kind of be like kneeling awkwardly close to you guys, but this shelf is kind of notable fiction that I wanted to keep separate from contemporary, if that makes sense. So this is more adult fiction, there's some new adult, there's also some just like really standout YA contemporary that in my mind is considered more of like a classic in like modern lit, if that makes sense. So we have like Aristotle and Dante and Ava Lavender, those type of books. And then as we pan around, we get to another shelf that you guys see pretty often in my videos. So this is going to be an entire shelf of fantasy. So we have some Victoria Schwab, some duologies that I'm a fan of, the Half Bad series, the Reader series, which is still one of my favorite series of all time. I just adore the cover of The Knowing and The Forgetting, so I wanted to face one of them out. But basically, as I pan through the shelf, oh, there's my Labyrinth Funko Pops. These are my favorite ones, to be honest. Out of all Funko Pops that I own, I'm pretty sure Jareth and Ludo are my favorite. But these are all just kind of recent fantasy reads that I've really wanted to get to or I have read recently. Then we get more into like mermaid, seafaring, piratey type stories, and then we get also into like witchy type stories down there at the end. I still have a pumpkin out. I'm in between seasons, okay? Decorating is confusing right now. We're almost down to the bottom here, I promise. But this entire corner shelf is all sci-fi stuff, and I honestly don't read that much sci-fi, but what I do, I end up loving. So these are probably all gonna live on my shelf. Let's be real, forever. As we kind of go around the corner, I get into the very limited historical fiction and miscellaneous titles. Don't worry about that corner. It's confusing. But then I kind of also branch into dystopian. I don't own that much dystopian anymore. I've unhauled quite a bit of it and a little Totoro because, I mean, everyone needs a Totoro in their library. And then as we pan even further, we get into my contemporary section, which I didn't think I owned that much contemporary, but take a look-see at all of that. There is quite a bit. And you may be thinking, oh man, that's like not that much contemporary. Wait until you see the next shelf. So basically, these are all contemporaries that I have read and have really just kind of hit me. And this collection has honestly grown a lot. There's a lot of contemporary that I've read over the years that I love it, I adore it, and it needs to live on my shelf forever. So that is what this shelf is. Okay, we are on our last physical shelf. Before we hit the floor level, we are not to ground level yet. So this little section is kind of nonfiction and poetry and humor writing. I don't have that much of it, but what I do have, I adore. I also have a stack of arcs that I would like to keep. Out of all the arcs that I read, I don't actually keep that many of them, so that little pile is arcs that I would like to own. You may see my Twilight collection back there, I understand, but they're all signed and we all, let's be real, half of us still have our Twilight in our collection. But now we get into the guilt shelf. So this entire bottom shelf here is my TBR shelf. This is literally just my contemporary TBR shelf. Shame. I know. I am. You know what? No, I'm not ashamed. These are all books that I am still very excited to get to, but I haven't yet. And I own apparently a lot of contemporary that I plan on reading. I also have a little bit of paranormal romance left over there that I've always wanted to get to, and I haven't unhauled yet. That's what that little tiny stack in the corner is. They'll just live there forever, along with Buffy and Spike, because, you know, why not? Moving on to ground level. That little bin is full of book sleeves that I just adore. But basically, almost everything that is on the floor is new adult. I have a lot of new adult. I like to keep a supply of it because new adult and contemporary, like this shelf up here, are what I reach for when I'm feeling slumpy. So I kind of like to have, honestly, a really big stash of it. So that's what this entire ground level is, until we hit right over here, and these are fantasy books that I have set aside for wintertime reading, which I will mention in an upcoming video. But, oh, and some Buffy, just hanging out over there. But this is literally just kind of an entire guilty pleasure shelf. If I'm ever feeling like really guilty, I kind of hide the shelf with pillows, but you know, it's fine. Everything's fine. Last but not least, just because everybody asked me about this little doohickey is my TBR cart. Since I have started featuring it in my videos, it's possibly like the most asked question in my comments. I bought it at Michael's, like the arts and crafts store. They still have them. They have them in like 6 or 7 different colors. And this is basically where I end up putting a lot of books that I either need to haul for you guys, my TBR, or just kind of like reading challenge books that I have set aside. So right now, that second shelf is my TBR as of right now, and the shelf on the bottom is my TBR for my holiday readathons. And up top, I generally use that for unboxings. I bought a topper thing so that I can use it as a stand, but that pretty much just lives next to my shelves. And this is a footrest that I just have in here, and it is honestly my step stool so I can reach the top shelves. So that just lives in the corner there. So those are 2 little added things that I feel like I should include because they're vital parts of the library. So getting into just general questions that I get about these shelves. These shelves I built myself. I basically have the dream that every book lover dream has, where one day I want like a Belle's library, like Beauty and the Beast. I want to have a rolly ladder. I want floor to ceiling bookshelves for as far as you can see. That's my goal. This is the closest that I can come in the current house that we are in. We have a very small house. All of the rooms in here are very teeny tiny, and this is honestly the only wall that was like a solid wall that wasn't broken up by windows or doors or closets or anything. So this was as close as I could get to built-in bookshelves. And for everybody who has constantly asked how I have done this, it was actually way easier than you think it is. I basically went to Home Depot and I bought a ton of shelving brackets, which are the little tiny things that you can see that are holding the shelves up. I picked out white ones that were cute, and I bought a ton of them. Like, you are gonna need so many more than you think you will. You find the studs in your wall, you drill those in, and then the white shelving pieces I also got at Home Depot. They're made by Rubbermaid. They're shelving units. I got them, I believe, in, I want to say these are 7-foot sections, and then I got like 5-foot sections to go around the corner. And I just put them up. I basically measured how tall I wanted the spacing to be in between each of the shelves. I basically wanted a couple inches of clearance taller than the tall book so that you can like pull it out at an angle without it like getting stuck in between the shelves. And I just measured out how many I could do from floor to ceiling, and I went to town. It was a very long day of measuring and leveling, but when it was completed, it was amazing. All in all, this probably cost, I want to say, all of the shelving and all of the brackets included probably less than $150. I don't have an exact total, but it was definitely way cheaper than buying an entire like Billy bookcase shelving unit from IKEA or something like that. And I kind of like that it's all uniform. I don't have the vertical lines that bookcases cause. Like when you put a whole bunch of bookcases next to each other, you have like obviously the vertical shelving parts of the bookcase that, you know, is a structural integrity thing. I don't have that splitting up series, which is really nice. That's kind of what I was trying to achieve. If you guys would like to try and do something like this, the only recommendation I have is going through and buying extra brackets, because what I have learned is, because as you can see, I have a ton of books. After a while, the shelves do start to bow from the weight of the books. I basically go through every couple months, take all the books off, dust them, and then flip them over. So as of right now, they're kind of in a straight section, but they definitely will start to bow in the long sections in between the brackets. So maybe get some extra brackets and put like more of those in, like closer together so your shelves don't start to sag a little, if you know what I'm saying. But I think that is going to wrap up this bookshelf tour. I hope you guys enjoyed it. This is going to be kind of an updated one. I would like to try and do these every year. I don't change my shelves drastically, but I do cycle my books in and out really consistently. So this is giving you an overall of like how many books I have. I couldn't give you a number. It's a lot, but I do unhaul pretty ferociously on this channel as well. So most of the books that I have in here are either ones that will live on my shelves forever or new releases, which is kind of how I like to keep it. So if you have any more questions regarding how I did shelves, how I organize the books that I keep, how I do everything basically in the library, definitely leave them down in the comments below and I'll be sure to answer those for you. I hope you guys enjoyed watching it and I'll see you in my next video.